Right now, let me cross over to Westlands, where the Catholic bishops are holding a convention there. They are talking about the state of the nation vis-a-vis the elections that's coming up and the issues that are coming up, all the back and forth with the IBC, as well as everything else that the politicians are talking about on their campaign trail. Let's listen in.
Called upon all Christians and people of goodwill to hold peaceful and credible elections and elect leaders of integrity. We have invited our Christ faithfuls to maintain and safeguard peace, calm, and non-violence. All of us, from whatever part of the country we come from, or whatever political views we hold, are children of God and children of peace. We are reminded to do so because in the Catholic social teaching, we are taught that the human person is the foundation and the purpose of political life, who is endowed with a rational nature. The human person is responsible for his own choices and able to pursue projects that give meaning to life at the individual and social level. The Church further recognizes that the political community originates in the nature of persons who have a religious and moral order that has the greatest validity in the solution of the problems relating to their lives. In addition, we are convinced that the political community finds its authentic dimension in its reference to people. It is and should, in practice, be the organic and organizing unity of real people. In common language, the political leaders in our society are a reflection of our society. The corruption and the impunity we are witnessing today in our public and private spheres is just an image in the mirror of who we are as the Kenyan people. We, the Catholic bishops of Kenya, are calling and imploring the Kenyan electorate to elect people of integrity, since the leadership is at the service of the people. We therefore need to critically assess ourselves. We need to answer this fundamental question: what kind of Kenya do we want? We know that everybody with an honest conscience will want a Kenya free of corruption, negative ethnicity, and violence. We need a peaceful and prosperous Kenya.
Towards peaceful and credible elections. We are concerned especially by certain developments we have witnessed during the process of political party nominations that are bound to threaten the very unity and peace of our country, which we have so passionately defended. We appeal to the politicians to conduct themselves peacefully and ensure that whatever they do should be in the interest of Kenyans, and in particular, to promote unity of the country. Concrete points to take into account during the electioneering period. A, on the drumming up of tribal and ethnic sentiments, we must resist and reject any form of incitements we must foster a unified nation. B, desist from inflammatory and irresponsible utterance, stirring up hatred towards specific candidates. We condemn the upsurge of elections-related violence among the political leaders. D, reject the agenda of some leaders that is not life-friendly and not family-friendly. The defense of life and protection of family unity is paramount and is not negotiable. E, we must judge each candidate carefully, especially on honesty, truthfulness, and integrity. Let us remember that we are entrusting our future and that of our families into their hands. F, the Catholic Church has members in almost all political parties in Kenya, which is a fruit of democracy. We as Catholic bishops therefore have no favorite candidates, but rather our duty is to emphasize the moral values of political and social life. We implore all politicians to conduct themselves with utmost sobriety to ensure that 2017 general elections are free, fair, peaceful, and credible for them to give legitimacy to the electoral offices. So we urge you to go out on the election day to vote wisely, guided by conscience, after clearly weighing the qualities and the programs proposed by the candidates. We reiterate the voter bribery is unacceptable, giving money to the voters. The Independence Electoral and Boundaries Commission. Kenya, like many African countries, is coming up with new experiences in the domain of governance. This is evidenced in the management of the public affairs of citizens through institutions set for targeting results, institutions that make a claim to legitimacy of governance. The Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission and other key election stakeholders should ensure that all the electoral process are credible, based on the compliance to the principle of Article 81 of the Constitution, which states that no more than 2/3 of the members of elective public bodies shall be of the same gender. Fair representations of persons with disabilities, universal suffrage, based on their aspirations for their representation, and equality of vote, free and fair election, which are by secret ballots, free from violence, intimidation, improper influence or corruption, conducted by the independent body, transparent and administered in an impartial, neutral, efficient, accurate, and accountability in a manner. In doing so, the sanctity of the people and their entitlements enshrined in 2010 Constitution and expressly provided for in the Bill of Rights, which declares itself to be an integral part of Kenya's democracy state, is the framework for social, economic, and cultural policies, will be respected. It is only in doing so that the Kenyans will have peaceful and credible election. The IEBC therefore carries the greatest responsibility and must be alive to that. We wish to make our passionate appeal for sobriety, to give dialogue a chance in order to reach consensus and harmonious resolutions that may embrace different views whenever they occur of all Kenyans in all the electoral process, before, during, and after election.
the principle of democracy. In his apostolic exhortation after the Synod of Bishops of Africa, His Holiness Pope Benedict XVI said that elections represent a platform for expression of people's decisions, and they are a sign of legitimacy for exercise of power. Africa Munus, number 81. Furthermore, free and fair elections provide a privileged opportunity for healthy and serene public political debate marked by respect for different opinions and different political groupings. Africa Munus 81. If conducted well, elections call forth and encourage real active participation by citizens in the political and social life. Number 10, as we approach the forthcoming general elections, we remind our brothers and sisters in Kenya that the principles of democracy, respect for human life and one another, and the role of independent electoral body and the judiciary are vital for the preservation of peace before, during, and after the elections. In that sense, the Catholic Church, in her social teaching, recognizes that democracy must be based on the true and solid foundation of non-negotiable ethical principles of equality among persons and sovereignty of the people and respect of the rule of law. We therefore urge all Kenyans, once again and again, to come out in large numbers after the registering as voters to actually ensure that they cast their votes. This will enable them to exercise their democratic rights to vote together, make decisions on how their country will be governed, both at national level and at county levels. Once again, we appeal to all Kenyans to keep and maintain peace so that, as we are guaranteed of human integral development and prosperity. Political parties respect and promote for the common good. The Catholic Church is aware of the role of political parties in the democratic society. It is also sadly aware of the role of political parties played in the 2007-2008 post-election violence. There were suspects. And as shepherds of the people, we would like to remind our political parties that they have a task of fostering a widespread participation and making public responsibilities accessible to all. Political parties are called to interpret the aspiration of the civil society, orienting them towards the common good, offering citizens the effective possibility of contributing to formulation of political choices. We call upon all political parties to present their manifestos to the electorate, explain them, and make them available to all people to see and read. Currently, much more interest seems to be placed on personal political position rather than service to the people. We strongly advise that political parties follow the provision of the Political Parties Act 2011 to be national in character, in presentation, and have internal democratic structures. Corruption, our perennial cancer. We, the Catholic bishops, in our press statement of 2016, have addressed our concern on the entrenched corruption that seems to be battle this country. It is unfortunate that this virus seems to thrive and perpetuate itself without shame or fear. This has taken a big toll on our country's economy. We have no food security in many places. Education has suffered in others places. Health sector, governance, security, employment, access to basic needs by the vast majority of Kenyans. There's little that has been done to prosecute or even recover the misappropriated resources from those suspected or found to be involved. However, the government has informed the public that it has recovered some of the looted funds. The fact is that some of the names mentioned in the public media have been cleared to contest in the oncoming elections, while some remained in the public offices. These half-hearted actions will yield no fruits. Tolerance, therefore, of corruption and letting those considered untouchable free to loot the taxpayers' money for the sake of the political expediency show how weak our institutions are and our structures and leadership are in the fight on corruption.
Conclusion. In this pastoral letter, we have expressed our pre-election concerns. They are not only the concerns of the Catholic bishops, but also the concerns of millions of Kenyan citizens who want peace and credibility of elections in our country. We bless all our brothers and sisters, and we pray to the Lord that concerns for peace and the common good may prevail over any kind of violence prompted by personal or ethnical ambitions during and after elections. We, as we all look forward to the forthcoming elections, we assure you of our continuous prayers and moral guidance. May God bless you all and bless our country, Kenya. This letter has been signed by me, Bishop Philip Anyolo, the chairman of the Kenya Conference of Catholic Bishops, and Bishop of Homa Bay, Bishop John Obala Owa, the vice chairman and Bishop of Ngong, His Eminence John Cardinal Njue, Archbishop of Nairobi, Most Reverend Zacchaeus Okoth, the Archbishop of Kisumu, Most Reverend Martin Kivuva Musonde, Archbishop of Mombasa, Most Reverend Anthony Muheria, Archbishop of Nyeri and Apostolic Administrator of Kitui and Apostolic Administrator also of Machakos, Reverend Bishop Cornelius Orir of Eldoret, Reverend Bishop Joseph Mairura Okemwa of Kisii, Reverend Bishop Maurice Crowley of Kitale, Reverend Bishop Alfred Rotich, KCCB, Reverend Bishop Norman Kingo Wambua of Bungoma, Reverend Bishop Peter Kihara of Marsabit, Reverend Bishop David Kamau Nganga of Auxiliary of Nairobi, Reverend Anthony Reri Mukobo of Isiolo Vicariate, Reverend Vigilio Pande of Marlal, Reverend Celestis Mugambi of Meru, Right Reverend Emmanuel Okombo of Kericho, Right Reverend James Maria Wanaina of Muranga, Right Reverend Paul Kariuki Njiru of Embu, and Right Reverend Maurice Muhatia Makumba of Kakamega, of Nakuru, Right Reverend Dominic Kimengich of Lodwa, and Reverend Joseph Mbatia of Nyaururu, Right Reverend Joseph Azandro of Garissa, Reverend Emmanuel Barbara of Malindi, and Reverend Joseph Obanyi of Sagwe of Kakamega, and Very Reverend Father Benjamin Maswili, Apostolic Administrator, Military Ordinariate. So thank you very much for listening and quoting us rightly.
So thank you very much for bishops who have presented the pastoral letter of the Catholic bishops to the nation. And at this point, we will allow about 3 questions from the media so that we can continue with our business. So you say your name, your media house, and a question. Quick question. So you're welcome. Yes.
So the IEBC and the preparations for the forthcoming general elections, there have been talks about the integrity of the process used to grant the tender to print the ballot papers in the opposition demanding that that contract be modified. Are the Catholic bishops worried about this and what potential impact it will have, and do you support that call to have this contract done away with and a fresh one started?
As we mentioned already in our pastoral letter, that transparency and accountability of IEBC is so important. So in this case, if there are any doubts, it should be sorted out before election. Now, that's the first step. We mentioned about dialogue in this process, that this dialogue allows time between the rule and all the parties, or among all the parties. So if the other side is not satisfied, the other side should give a chance for a dialogue and explain the reason. But for me, the most important thing is voter registry, because that is the core of this election. So far, I don't know whether they have finished the auditing of it, but it's very important, and that will cause violence if the registrar is not one. To be clear, so, and that should be transparency. Even if we have printing from anywhere and the registrar is not good, we still have people voting, the dead people coming back to vote. Whether you have whatever printing you come from, and thirdly, the IEBC should take care of any process to make sure no corruption is involved. Sometimes some of the things why they are fighting for printing, many of them they want money. Each one of them want money. So it should be integrity of the IEBC of transparency. That is our message.
Thank you. Yes.
My name is Brenda Zagara from KBC. Just a follow-up question to what Brenda asked. You're talking about dialogue, and last week IEBC tried to have a sit-down with these political parties, and they ended up not agreeing. And just to still ask what you asked, do you call for cancellation of the tender, or are you, as the Catholic bishops, are you probably going to intervene in terms of sitting down with the parties? The dialogue failed last week. Then my second question is in terms of corruption. You have raised concern over some leaders who've been implicated in some corruption scandals being cleared by the IEBC during the clearance process. What is your advice? Should they be barred? What is your advice? Because the IEBC becomes some of the candidates to be cleared.
I'll just say the one for, I will make a comment again once again what I said. If there is a dialogue reaches a deadlock, the whole thing should be cancelled. If it reaches dialogue, no understanding. But first, let them have the dialogue. Because it's good to move to general election with a good mood of all parties agreeing.
The question of what do you do with those we feel were cleared and people have hesitation. I think the voter still has a vote and is actually the final person who can give a verdict. In other words, that's why we are encouraging Kenyans to accept to do the right things. We have heard people say, oh, well, that guy is not good, but he's our guy. That's our thief. He better have our thief. No, or our, personalizing even what you consider things that we don't consider part of our election. So, an appeal is that you still have your vote, Kenyans. Vote out or vote the good guy or the good person. That's all we're saying. And that's what we're telling leaders of integrity. And even however much we can talk, still the verdict remains with the voter. The voter, the voter, the voter. Mpiga kura, piga mtu au pigia anayeona anafaa. That is the solution. Lakini tukisema kwamba basi alipitishwa na chama, because we know the issue of corruption is not just now. There's been many mentioned in our challenges. We still have a valid voting card. Vote that person out. Or vote the other guy in you think is good or is able to stand for the values we all stand for as Kenyans. I think it's as easy and as hard as that. Of course, there's the other element which we have mentioned, jambo la voter buying, voter bribery. It still continues, and we saw it, we had it. The primaries we've seen, have indicated a lot of malpractices. And then we come back and complain when those people we voted them unjustly, we come back after, just in September, begin to complain. We punch ourselves and complain about the pain. So Kenyans, be wise. Kenyans, the time is now. Make your decisions. Known and heard.
One more. Different one? Yeah, I'm seeing another. Okay.
Sorry, you touched on the issue of food security in the country. We know right now we've been going through a period of a shortage of maize flour. I just want to get your take on how this situation has been handled and if you're satisfied by what is currently happening, perhaps what the government is doing to address it and if it could have done things differently.
The issue of food security in this country is not new, challenge of it, I mean. And therefore, whatever we try to do in this country by importing hurriedly, by whatever, is what you call an emergency take. The resolution we hope and pray can take place is make contingency plans in advance. Of course, this particular year was tough because we ended up with the whole country dry, lack of water, lack of food, all of our grains depleted by us and others, and even animals dying. That is an emergency scenario. But an emergency scenario also provides us an opportunity to measure our capability. We still have a big lands lying fallow in places, counties and places where it's just more can be done. We have a whole Ministry of Agriculture. We have the Ministry of Planning. And all these people or these ministries should work together in a manner whereby we still continue to encourage large-scale farming while we insist that even that kitchen garden we make our little sukuma wiki around the house helps the family so that food security is not left only in the hands of the government. Even the individual can take responsibility of that challenge. Challenge, we cannot say it can be over now. The emergencies are emergencies, and that's why we appealed for a moment to think about this challenge. They're trying their best, but it's not enough, and it doesn't solve all the problems. So there's anxiety about food. And then, therefore, we begin also to wonder, is it politics? People keep asking that questions. So, but it's a state we are in. Incidentally, they are coming together with the election, and there are many questions. But we need to feed our country. Brothers and sisters feed each other. Communities help each other, support one another. We don't just look at the government only. And I want here to thank the Kenyans who have actually gone on their way to support the appeal we made as the Catholic Church in terms of food, in terms of money. You supported us, and you still continue to do so. We want to thank you and say, even our international donors and friends, this has been a blessing that we have gone the extra mile to support those who have none. God bless us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay.
One just a request if you can do a brief recap in Swahili. Recap of this question.
Okay. I think
before the question, the issue, your question is whether it was handled well or not. It was handled badly. It was badly.
We'll give him the mic.
Glad to hear it.
Give him the mic. Let it say it.
The issue of food security was handled badly.